So Anthony Davis wants to win Defensive Player of the Year this season. I think that's a fair goal. He also wants LeBron to make an all-defense team. That one's going to be a little tougher, because of course LeBron doesn't want to move like that anymore. And even if there is some evidence that suggests his terrible defense is not as bad as we all might think it is nowadays, I don't really see that one happening. But going back to Anthony Davis as an as Defensive Player of the Year guy, yeah, I think that's definitely a possibility. I mean, he's got all the physical tools, as he's 6'10", 6'11", and one of the most athletic guys in the league. His mental game defensively has improved throughout his career. His defensive rating the past couple seasons has been pretty damn good. And now he's got that extra motivation of being in LA and wanting to showcase to the world how good he really is. But there is one thing that you could do if you want to get nitpicky with AD. He's played a lot of his career with Jrue Holiday. If you go through the lineup numbers of the past few seasons, there was not a lot of staggering with these two. They pretty much always shared the floor together. And you have to assume that helped him out. And if you look at this Lakers personnel, Danny Green, still pretty good. Not Jrue Holiday, but solid. You have KCP, who is one of the most frustrating guys in the league on both sides of the floor, really. Jared Dudley's definitely more reliable defensively, even if physically he's nowhere close to what Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is. Avery Bradley is going to be very interesting because he's spent time being awesome defensively last couple seasons. Who really knows? And then, of course, we have Kuzma and LeBron, and I've already talked about LeBron a little bit. So let's talk about Kuzma, because I think he can be a good defender. I also don't think he's as bad defensively as some people think he is. There were stretches this previous year for the Lakers where his perimeter defense and just his attention to detail and basically not sucking was solid. Now, I don't think that lasted the whole year, and he's got something to prove, but I'm not going to rule him out of being a good defensive player. In the case of LeBron, just show up and be formidable enough is, I guess, all we can ask for. But when it comes to wanting to be the Defensive Player of the Year, you usually have to make up for your team's problems, because that's the way it is, right? You're so good. Assuming your teammates are actual adults, your team should be one of the best, if not the best, defensive team in the league. Well, that does have one little problem with it, though. Anthony Davis doesn't want to play center, where we would all agree that is where he would be at his most effective defensively. It seems like it's going to be Dwight, JaVale McGee, whoever else. So AD at power forward, don't get me wrong, he can still be an effective perimeter wing type of defender, and he can still swarm around at times, but it's a lot different than him just being able to patrol the middle of the floor, protect the rim, and all that stuff. You compare that to Rudy Gobert, where Gobert has a huge impact on basically every single play that the opposing team has when he's on the floor. If Anthony Davis isn't at center, you can't really say the same thing. Also, if we look at some more competition, there's Joel Embiid, where, his on-off stuff with the Sixers has been amazing, basically since he showed up. But he's also got a hell of a defensive team around him. Josh Richardson is very good. You have the god Al Horford, who's going to be playing the 4 spot next to him. And then there's Ben Simmons. So there's a chance Philly is so good defensively that the award just has to go to somebody on that team. And the answer to that would most likely be Joel. Draymond, if he's not going to come in a little heavy, always a chance that he's going to be in the running for this. Miles Turner did not make an all-defense team because it's dumb how there can only be 2 centers, but he definitely deserved it, and he's going to be back again for this one. And of course, there is always Giannis, who's a defensive alien. And there's also Kawhi, but if he plays 60 games, probably not in the running. There's also a bunch of other dudes you can find in the comment section who I just didn't feel like saying for this video. So do I really think Anthony Davis can contend for Defensive Player of the Year? I'm just going to go back to what I said. If he's playing center at least a decent amount of the time. If he's playing maybe 10 to 15 minutes a game at the 5 and the Lakers are amazing in those minutes, and then at power forward he's still very good, that could be enough for him to get the award. We'll see what happens.